For Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Allen?
Here.
Darnell?
Here.
De Palma?
Here.
Cordella?
Here.
Marshall?
Here.
Rumble?
Here.
Thurman?
Here. Okay, at this time, we need to approve our agenda, and I received a request from the library to put an item on discussion to discuss the capture of revenue that goes to the DDA. Is everybody in agreement for doing that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make that item A.
That'll be item A on new business?
Discussion. Discussion.
Oh, discussion.
Discussion. Are there any other comments about the agenda tonight, other than it's long? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen. It is seconded by Trustee Cordella to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The motion has been approved unanimously. So next, we will open a public hearing for the recreation grant application. So if there was, is it a particular grant, Fred, that the hearing's for?
Land and Water Conservation Fund for the concession stand.
Okay. So this is a public hearing for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant that would fund our concession stand, our proposed concession stand. So and restrooms. So if there's anyone here that would like to make a comment to that, we need to hear from you at this point. So
Don't we have to open the public?
we have to open the public
Yeah.
hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public
Okay.
hearing.
Second.
With LWC up.
All right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen and is seconded by Trustee Rumble to open the public hearing for the recreation grant application. I don't think we need a two-thirds vote on it. Okay, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, now we are officially open for anyone to make a comment for this public hearing on the recreation grant application for the proposed concession stand and bathrooms at the Township Park. So we've got,
Scott Broughton, Granger Road. I'm here to support Fred's efforts and the application of both these grants. Park's really turning out great, and like it to continue. Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment during the public hearing? Okay.
My name is Ryan, and I play soccer there, and I really think it's a good idea to get a bathroom and a concession stand.
Ryan, could you state your last name for us, please?
De Palma.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment regarding the grant application? Okay. As a resident of the township, I would also like to go on record stating my support for the project.
I would like to too, as a resident. I know many of
families that I'm friends with would love to see it there, especially with the baseball fields coming and people who use it for soccer and flag football and everything else that we could have there. So I think it's a great project.
I just third both of those things. I mean, it is a really good idea for our park as a resident, and looking forward to hopefully getting those things out there. We've been working on trying to get those there for a long time, so hopefully this will work out.
All right.
I definitely agree with everyone else, and especially with Scott, and with regards to Fred and his efforts. Let's make it happen.
Okay. All right, last chance for public comment. Okay. Yes.
Fred Waybrand, Director of Parks Rec. I just want to make note that little history of the park. We've been using the Porta Johns since the opening of the park, 2008. So it's been a long time. I've seen good, bad, and ugly with those Porta Johns. Just recently with the sledding hill, somebody made a big mess out of it. So it's important that that Brandon Township Parks and Rec keeps moving forward. We'll write these grants as often as we have to get facilities out at that park. It did perk. There's a site for it with the help of the DNR and the Township. We should be able to get this done. We was shy 10 points from getting it last year, and I just want to show support that we really, really need these. And so if anybody else has anything to say, we appreciate it. We put it out on Facebook. I did get about 62 responses saying how much they really would like it as well. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Would anyone else like to make a public comment on the grant application before we close the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, who would like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Marshall and a seconded by trustee Rumble to close the public hearing for the recreation grant application. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously to close the public hearing. So the public hearing is now closed. We can move on to our reports. We have our regular treasury report. We have our general ledger report, our designated and reconciliation reports, building department report. New builds have gotten off to a slow start this year. I believe we just received one recently. And then we have our recreation report. And Mr. Waybrandt, did you want to speak to the recreation report tonight?
Just like to add a couple things. Thursday last week we hosted a sledding hill event supported by the Lions Club. They brought all their volunteers, but it was a school for disabilities out of Grand Blanc. We had 48 kids just having a great time. It was covered by Channel 66, Channel 5 out of Genesee County. They did a nice report. Chris Morris, who's a past employee of the rec department, arranged it last year, and this year he arranged it double the size, plus got the TV station on site as well. We finally got to the point where we're going to move forward with developing the baseball fields and basketball courts and the sand volleyball, parking for approximately 300 cars. And we're breaking ground today. I had about 5 contractors call me. Basically, I just send them over to HRC because that's where they got to get the bid document. Other than that, I went back to Sliding Hills this weekend. It was packed again with our residents. So it's getting very good use. We've had the wire cut to the lift station twice this year. Someone's sabotaging the machine. So I'm going to be writing a grant through risk management. They offer $2,000 for that kind of security cameras that we're going to start showing on that lift station in that area where we're getting some vandalism. And so maybe we'll have good luck and get that grant as well. But we fixed it, and we're going to do things a little bit different as far as how that wire is being set. We're going to try to unplug it and then tuck it away. So I have no idea who's doing this, but it's definitely a cut with a knife. And we found out the day we had the show, we had to manually operate the machine all day, but it worked out. And again, thanks to the Lions Club for helping out with that. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. First, I had in my notes to congratulate you and the Lions Club, because it was great coverage. It's great for the township. You mentioned security cameras. Can I make a suggestion that you get with Lieutenant Glover and find out the most advantageous place to put the cameras so you can capture what we actually need to have captured? And I know this is going to sound really geeky of me, but that's just the kind of guy I am. I noticed the stop signs coming out on Hadley Road. They're not legal-sized stop signs. They're
What
small.
stop signs are you talking about?
The stop signs coming from the driveway of the park out to Hadley Road
When you're leaving the park.
when you're leaving.
Oh,
They're not legal-sized stop signs. Now, I'm not sure if that opens us up to any liability if somebody doesn't stop. I told you it was geeky.
I wouldn't have any. You're talking about the stop sign that's in the park itself.
As you're leaving the park onto Hadley
Yeah,
Road.
those were ordered through some catalog for Parks and Rec. So
Yeah, they're not a legal size. They're
So I
supposed to
gotta
be
have
bigger.
the big one.
Did you know? Have you noticed that, LT?
They're
Yeah.
not legal? Okay. Great.
Doesn't matter
Learn something
whether
new
it's
every
on a
day.
regular roadway.
Yeah, it still has to be.
Get them through road commission, they're really cheap, I just bought
Yeah.
them for Station 3.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll change that up.
yeah. Just. I told you it was geeky.
Oh, we've been disobeying the stop sign since 2008.
That was it. That was it.
Thanks for that. I had no idea.
Okay, anything else?
No?
Okay.
Oh, wait, yes, there is one thing. I'm sorry. I have to ask you guys a question. So, the Brandon Community Park Club dissolved. They over the last, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years, we probably raised $25,000, and they spent all of it, but $300 into the park for development. Things like the sidewalk, a couple playground things, and mulch and stuff like that. So, they dissolved. They asked me to do a grand opening for Phase 3, which is the Living Tree Library, because now we have that half-a-mile loop. So basically, I'm asking the board, is that something you want me to do? The park or not the park subcommittee, but Brandon Community Park Club thought May 18th would be a good date, spring flowers and all that kind of stuff going on, and have a ribbon cutting ceremony for the tree library. We did it for the soccer fields, Phase 1. We'll have to do it for Phase 2 once the grants are all completed, and the DNR will be out there as well. But is this something that the board would support?
I would.
Because everybody would be invited. It'd be a regular,
Will there be balloons?
Yeah. we can do that.
Then I'll be there.
So I'm getting a yes for support from the board to go move forward with this May 18th. All right, that's all. I wanted to make sure.
I'm not sure I can make it, but I will support you doing it. I think that's the recital. It depends on what time. I think that's.
Well, get with me. I can do it any time, but May 18th is a Saturday. Hopefully it'll be good weather. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Okay, we also have an Edna Burton Senior Center report. There's no CDBG report tonight, but that brings us to our trustees' reports. Jason, would you like to start us out?
Yeah, just wanted to say I had a great time, Fred, at the daddy-daughter dance. My daughters and I had a great time there. And then it's part of the Lions Club, too. I was out there at the park on Thursday, and that was great. It was fun. It was pretty sore for a couple days after that, helping them kids up and down, but it's worth every penny and all their smiles, and they love sledding down there, so thanks for helping us out with that, Fred.
Hey, Dana.
None of my committees had meetings this month, but I did attend the mom-son date night with Mr. Ryan, who got up and spoke, and we had a great time, and it was a good turnout, and thank you for everyone's hard work on that.
Yeah. Okay, Bob.
I have nothing.
And Chris.
Ditto, nothing.
Okay, that brings us to our treasurer's report.
Okay, we're now in the process of balancing the 18 taxes to the state of Michigan. So as of March 1st, all remaining unpaid taxes are payable at Oakland County, not the township. Until the treasurer's office has completed the balancing process, all of the payments going to the county have to have a revised statement with the payment. Just make sure that all the checks are made out to Oakland County, not the township. And we still have dog tags available at the regular price.
Okay, good. Thank you. Clerk's report.
Well, I have great news for tomorrow night. We have a Girl Scout troop going to come and learn everything about elections, and they will earn a badge, so we're excited for that. Thursday morning is the Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance Annual Breakfast, which we usually get about 50 people come. Everybody's invited. Our audit started today, and I heard it was an extremely hectic day, so that's good news. Our auditor is earning his pay. And lastly, I'd like to say my condolences to the 3 events that happened last week. My heart goes out to everybody on that.
I did all that.
And that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, as far as the supervisor's report, as you can see, if you came in the back door, we still have 6 boxes of used fluorescent light bulbs to sell for a very reasonable price if anyone's interested. I contacted RepoCast and another similar site, and neither one would sell the bulbs for us. I don't know if there's anybody that's good at eBay that might want to try to list them for us, just to get rid of them. Otherwise, just let me know if you're good at doing that. Otherwise, they'll probably go to the no-haves dump days, so.
I'd be worried about shipping those.
Well, we could make it, could we make it for someone to pick up? Is that possible?
Craigslist would probably be the best for pickup.
For pickup? Help us with that?
I don't know. I don't do Craigslist. I was just saying the shipping part of it would be hard. I'd worry about the bulbs, but.
Okay. I'll look into Craigslist and see what we can do. All right, has dates and locations for this year. The first one's April 13th in Oxford, and our residents can attend. It'll be a fee of $10 for each event. June 22nd is at Oakland University. July 20th is at the Oakland County Center campus. September 7th is at the Oakland Community College, and October 12th is the Oakland County Center campus again. And I think there's a couple more dates, but they're farther away.
Where was
So-
413?
And these lists are all, these dates are on our website. I'm sorry, what was your question?
I just asked where 413 was. I didn't catch that. It was Oxford.
Oxford?
Yes, Oxford, that's the closest one. There will be prescribed burns at the Independence Oaks Rex area, and that will cover about 80 acres at various times in the months of March and April. So if you're down that way and you see smoke, it's probably a prescribed burn. Our IT service provider has let us know that we have 14 computers that should be replaced this year, so I'll be following up on that. And I'm going to be sending that list to the fire chief so he can take a look and make sure that those should be replaced as well. Oakland County will be holding Skywarn training again this year, and I mentioned this last month. But just to give you an idea, on March 6th and 23rd, they will be having training in Pontiac. The April 8th training will be in Groveland, and that will be the closest one to Ortonville. So if you are interested in getting that training so you can watch for severe weather and help alert everyone, please call 248-858-5300 to register. The Road Commission for Oakland County is looking to hire 32 seasonal summer laborers this year. And they're willing to pay $11.25 per hour. And they would like you to call 248-645-2000, extension 2220 if you're interested. I attended the Capitol Conference last Wednesday, and I went to a seminar on the new marijuana law and also one on the new assessing law. So MTA suggests opting out of any marijuana establishment before Lara starts issuing licenses so that the municipality can regulate how they may want to opt in at a later date. So what we did was probably a good thing, since we did that already. Only municipalities that have a retailer or micro business will receive a share of the revenue. So it's not all types of marijuana facilities that will garner revenue for the township. And then on the assessing reforms, they will take about 3 years to phase in, and I will speak more about those later on in our meeting. So that's it for the supervisor's report tonight. So we can move on to citizens' comments.
I have a question. You're talking about replacing 14 computers. Is it possible to do half of them this year and half next year so we can sort of phase them in and we don't ever have to replace all of them all at once all the time?
Well, that's not all of our computers.
That's not?
No.
Okay.
And we probably have money budgeted in each department
Okay.
to
All right.
do some.
Okay.
So, but we'll be looking into that to see. And I think I did ask them that question, and they were kind of encouraging me to get them done this year. So. All right, during citizens' comments. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, for correspondence, we have our fourth quarterly report for OPEB, and we also have community conversation. So we're hoping everyone can go attend that event. When is that?
Tuesday, the 26th.
It's on March 26th. And now we'll go to citizens' comments. So this will be comments on agenda items only, and during citizens' comments, we ask that you stand at the podium and direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it's not required, we also ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Who would like to make a citizen's comments on any of the agenda items tonight? Yes. Hi.
I hope you don't mind, but from the library, I prepared something to read because I'm a better reader than a speaker. My name's Tiffany Ragland. I'm currently reside in Brandon Township on Hadley. So I'm a resident of Brandon, and I'm also the board president of the Brandon Township Public Library. And I've been asked to come here to speak on behalf of the library this evening. And I greatly appreciate you adding us to the agenda this evening. I know that it was kind of last minute, so I really appreciate it. There is legislator that exempts certain library millages from capture. Specifically, this one is called the 2016 PA 506. As you may know or may not know, the Michigan Downtown Development Authority Act was recently amended by 2016 PA 506 to specifically address library millages. According to this recent amendment, any library millage that was levied before January 1st, 2017 is entirely exempt from capture if all obligations and other protected obligations of the DDA are paid. We understand that the DDA has no outstanding obligations. The tax increment captures are pledged to repay, since there are no obligations from the DDA. Since there are no obligations, the library millage is automatically exempt by law, and the DDA and Township have no authority to capture. We're not obligated to opt out or exempt its taxes because the millage is automatically exempt by law. We are aware that the Township captured approximately $7,300 in 2017 without authorization and was released to the DDA. We are seeking return of those funds, and while we greatly appreciate the efforts of the DDA, we feel it is our fiduciary responsibility to make sure this money is returned to the library. We feel strongly that the Brandon Township is responsible to make sure this money is returned to the library. Because I don't know. I'm just kidding, I do know. I just lost my spot. Since it was not authorized to be captured, basically. We have been in contact with the Township, and our attorney has been in contact with the Township attorney since October of 2018, and we're here to seek a resolution.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment on any of our agenda items? Yes.
Can I comment on two different things?
Sure.
Cheryl Galt, Brandon resident. I'm on the library board also, so obviously I support getting a resolution to this so that we can get our funds refunded and get that straightened out, so we don't have to have it on our agenda any longer. I also want to say that I greatly support transferring the money to the fire department to buy the new equipment. That's something that I think all the taxpayers appreciate, and that's something we would really like our money to be used for. So thank you for doing that.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment on any of our agenda items tonight? Okay, everyone's being quiet. So we'll move on to our discussion item, which happens to be the recapturing of the funds. So, in our packet, oops, that's the wrong one. Wait, let me get to the right part. So I included for the board the position paper on the Michigan local tax capture. And on the back, it's got the Miller Camfield increment financing entities excerpt. And I believe the lined parts on here are probably highlighted.
Rather than redacted.
Hard to read. No, they were highlighted.
And then I have the letter to me from Tiffany, January 31st, 19, and then I replied and sent this back to the library, but apparently it didn't get to anyone. Okay. So, and the treasurer and I have been discussing this, and what happened was this law took place in 2017, and from the township's perspective, there's a lot of laws that go into effect, but unless we're notified somehow, we don't know to do anything different. So I don't know when the letter from the library to us, the first one was, I don't know if.
I didn't get anything.
Or.
I got.
If you have an answer.
We first became aware of this in 2018.
Okay.
We contacted the library. I believe our first contact was in October. We had contacted our attorney to find out exactly how the law read. We then contacted you guys because we wanted to make sure it didn't get captured this year.
And it didn't.
But then when I contacted Oakland County to find out what had happened the previous year.
You know what, Cheryl, would you stand up here, please? Thank you.
Then I had some conversation with Terry, and from that I contacted Oakland County. And Oakland County was the one that let us know that there had been money captured from the December 2017 tax bill. So that's the money that we're trying to get back. It was just over $7,300. I don't have an exact dollar amount. I assume that you guys would have that.
So for the 2017 taxes, as you're well aware, we collect those in December, and then the
They
settlements.
get dispersed every 2 weeks.
After
Right.
that.
Correct.
And then your settlement is what time of year?
March.
In March.
We're going through it right now.
Right. So after March of 18, those monies would be gone. And
They're
if
already dispersed.
they're dispersed. So we wouldn't know to do anything different unless someone approaches us and tells us to do that. When new laws are made, they don't send memos out to the municipalities saying, hey, do this, do that.
But I assume as the municipality that's handling the taxpayer money that you should know when the laws change and know how that should be handled.
Okay, here would be my take on this. Because there was no communication between the library and the DDA and the township in 17, I would not know that the DDA had a bond or not, because I don't pay any of their obligations. I give them the disbursement monies, and that's as far as I go. If they had a debt, I wouldn't know that.
But it's your responsibility as the treasurer for this township to follow the law.
And there are lots of libraries without communication. I wouldn't know that you decided not to participate in the DDA.
We didn't have to decide. We were automatically exempt. The law said we were exempt unless we decided otherwise. We did not decide otherwise, so our millage was exempt in the December
Then
2017.
I should have been notified before the.
By whom? Why would we notify you? It's a law. We just figured you would follow the law and how
But
the monies.
I was not given that law.
It
Like
was,
you said, there's a bazillion laws that come through.
okay, but aren't you responsible as treasurer to know that on how the monies were supposed to be dispersed?
Don't you get that from the county for the DDA disbursements? Or is that
I get the
through-
amounts, right. Yes, and like the county told me, some libraries are still within the DDA. If there was some communication between the DDA and the library, I wouldn't know that. They could have had a contract with the DDA.
According to the law, we did not have to do anything.
Wouldn't you think that you would check to see what you should do with the funds before you disperse them?
No, because it doesn't, the DDA doesn't come in and say, give this much to them. It says this much goes to the DDA.
If I can make a suggestion, seeing as how we just, I mean, this is the first I saw it,
Me too.
and since I don't think we're going to resolve anything here tonight, could I make a suggestion that we send this to the township attorney and say, what's the best way to resolve this? Because we certainly don't want to take money away from the library.
And we have had contact with the attorney, with the township attorney, but
We've
we haven't got a resolution.
He
We
come up with a
contacted
resolution?
him, but he had no resolution as well. It's because the money has already been dispersed, and
the
so
DDA.
yeah, to the DDA. So we don't have it anymore. So we
I
can't.
understand that, but there has to be some resolution somewhere along the line. If nothing else, if he follows along and tracks the money where the money went, and if it's to the DDA, say, hey, you received money that you weren't entitled to, so we'd like to recoup that and give it back to the library.
Yeah, has
Right.
something like,
And,
has something
well-
like this ever happened in the past, and what do they
No.
say should happen? Not here, I'm just talking about in general, I'm
This
sure.
law just came into effect in 2017, and it just,
So how did you know not to do it this year for the 12 of 18?
They called
because
me.
they contacted us.
Because they realized what happened with the.
no, they
12 of
called and said,
17.
okay, this law's come into effect, we don't want to participate in the DDA. And I said, I've got to have something that authorizes me to change a millage rate or to do an exclusion factor. I can't just
The
arbitrarily.
law changes it. You didn't have to have anything from us. The law changed it.
Unless there was something written between you and the DDA, which I wouldn't have
Is
any
this-
idea.
But isn't this a millage, is this the millage that goes on the Alforge, is this the millage that we assess to the taxpayers, or no matter what, you would have collected this amount, it just doesn't get dispersed to the DDA or stay with the library, right? It wouldn't have changed what you collected.
Correct.
Okay, so the millage wouldn't change. Now, does this affect the summer taxes too, or is
No.
this just on the winter?
Library millages are only in the winter.
Just want to make sure there wasn't more out there.
No.
Well, going back to my point,
Well-
I would like to see maybe the township
I would like
attorney
to see a
to
resolution
arbitrate.
as well, but I think the county, and the county seems to have a better handle on how this all works.
Well, that might be, but I think the attorney would have probably a better handle than all of us. And if nothing else, to act as arbitrator.
You know,
We can go through the county and the township attorney, but we have approached the township attorney, and he,
Is saying that it's up to the DDA, because that's where we disperse the
That's-
funds.
that's exactly, you know, the letter that I'm reading here right now is the first time I've read it, and I think it's an issue between the library and Hortonville DDA, not the township.
The library feels it's an issue between us and the township because it was the township's responsibility not to capture it based on the law.
Well, okay, that might be the case, but the bottom line is the monies have been dispersed to the DDA. They've got the money.
The township made the error, so the township should be
Yeah,
responsible to, if they're going to collect it back from the DDA, then they should need to do that, not us.
what we can do is have the.
We don't
attorney
have authority to do that.
To the library, and
And I would suggest to the DDA as well, and basically following the funds. Because I'm sort of in agreement. I mean, whether you know the law or not, you're still obligated to follow the law.
Right.
You know, there's no, the whole thing about ignorance of the law is no excuse. So even if we don't know what the law is, we are obligated to follow the law. And so I would tend to agree that funds were dispersed to the DDA, even though we innocently enough did it because we didn't know anything better to do because we'd done it in the past. I think we do have an obligation to try to recoup those funds somewhere along the line. And if Stuart could act as arbitrator on it, I think that'd be beneficial, because we're not going to solve it tonight.
We're going to spend some attorney fees. I mean, I agree, there's something, we need to look into something, it was our mistake by distributing it, I feel like. Even if they were supposed to say something to us, I still don't feel like we should just distribute money out to somewhere without verification.
well, when you distribute, you get.
Right.
She gets a notification from the county on where to distribute everything, so she's just following
Well,
what
why
she's
would the
told.
county be telling her to distribute it?
Because they didn't get anything saying that they didn't know if there was any obligations, if there was a DDA debt, because.
Well, I guess that's where
So
the county needs to advise what should
So
happen.
they didn't
Not the attorney.
do this either, following the law as well, so.
Did you talk to the county at all?
Yes,
What
plenty
did
of
they- what
times.
did-
And usually what happens is the library contacts the county saying, I want to have the exclusion factors for the DDA taken out of library operating. And we did not get any information to that.
So it came from county to still disperse it?
But
When I
we had
talked to the
follow up
county-
with them just to make sure that that was the protocol and that we weren't responsible automatically.
Right.
I'll
What-
ask you, what was your conversation?
When I talked to the county, and I talked to the Treasury Department, they advised me to advise Brandon Township not to capture it
And that was for 18 tax.
for 18, because
that's
they
what
said,
happened.
well, they shouldn't have captured for 17, so you better let them know. However, under the law, that was not our obligation. We just did that to make sure they knew.
Okay.
So did the county tell you what should happen with 17 since it was
Yes, that we should,
captured?
that
and
we should
distributed?
request a refund of that money. That's what
I'll
we
talk
were
to
told.
Scott tomorrow, because that's not what he told me.
Did you talk to Scott too, or did you talk to somebody else?
No, I talked to somebody else, and I can give you that name. I don't know if I have it with me right now.
Because it doesn't help if you're talking to two different people.
Yeah, he's the deputy.
Well, the person that I've talked to several times, and she's been very helpful.
Was her name Scott?
No. Jessica in the treasurer's office, and Mary Ritchie also.
Yeah, Mary Ritchie is in
I talked to both of
equalization.
them.
Yes, and that's who told me right here, it's the communication between the DDA and the library.
Between
Did I-
DDA, Township, or
Yes, the
library.
DDA should have told me, or the library should have told me,
Gotcha.
because I wouldn't know, because I don't pay the DDA obligations if there was a debt or not in 17. So, and then they contacted me in October of 18, and it was taken off the 18 roll.
So can you be patient for a month?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
We just wanted to make sure it kind of, you know, you had this huge list, and we wanted to make sure we were on it.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll follow up with that.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we have a consent agenda this evening that includes regular meeting minutes of February 4th, 2019, special meeting minutes of February 4th, 2019, regular bills in the amount of $20,735.21, prepays in the amount of $263,090.14, Township benefits from payroll account of $278,395.03, and trustees' timesheets in the amount of $510. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Rumble.
Yes.
Excuse me. Allen.
Yes.
Brunel.
Yes?
De Palma. Yes. Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. The consent agenda has been approved. There's no unfinished business this evening, so we will get right to our new business. The first item of new business is the new hire for the appraiser position in the supervisor assessing office. So, a lot has transpired between our last meeting and this meeting. And the main thing is the assessor is saying he needs a full-time appraiser instead of a part-time appraiser. And I've spent a lot of time on this, trying to write down everything that needs to get done. Assessing Brandon Township is not the same as it used to be. There's more work involved. Also, I attended the class in Lansing. And let's see. The purpose of the act was to create a uniform minimum quality standard throughout the state. The new requirements are being phased in over 3 years. One of the requirements is to ensure taxpayers have access to information. We will need to provide support staff that is sufficiently trained to respond to taxpayers' inquiries. And just so you all realize, our assessor only works for us part-time. He's not there 5 days a week. We will also be required to provide online access, which includes parcel information, land value studies, and economic condition factors. If a municipality fails their AMAR review, and we've had one AMAR review, and there were several mistakes that were brought to our attention, and those are in the process of being corrected. But what will happen with this new law is that if you fail your AMAR review more than 2 times, the state will assign a designated assessor to oversee our role. And this would be an additional cost that we would sustain on top of the costs that we're already sustaining. So, I won't go through all of this. I wrote down all the things that need to be done. And so we're looking at hiring Brenda Catarat as full-time appraiser 2. And I have a suggested motion here with budget amendments. So I'd like to get some discussion.
I'd like to make a motion, first of all, to put this job in our policy so that it's legal, and then to hire Brenda Catarat as full-time appraiser number 2, and to hire Stacy Lawrence as full-time building department administrative assistant beginning March 18th, 2019, and make the following budget amendments. Blah, 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 blah.
As presented.
As presented. There's a lot of budget lines, money moved from one budget line to another to cover this.
Okay. Would anyone like to second that motion?
I'll second
So I just have a quick question. Did we post this like we were supposed to after the last meeting? We talked about that.
Pardon me?
Did this job get posted like we talked about it last? Okay.
Yes. I think it should be, I think I wrote to that part.
Yeah, you did,
Did you?
because you mentioned that trustee Marshall came in and interviewed.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I
And we
missed that
only
part.
had one applicant.
Okay.
Yeah, I read all that.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I wrote it down. Yeah, it's right here.
it. It is.
It was advertised on February 9th. We interviewed the
Okay.
applicant on February 26th.
That's fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure we did that.
Someone support?
Yes.
Who was it? I missed it.
So is, after all this stuff is done that we're saying all has to be done, is there gonna be enough work to maintain that full-time position?
Yeah, that's this paragraph right here. In addition, there's more work that needs
Oh,
to
I
be
know, I read
addressed
that
on
too,
an
but I-
ongoing basis. So that it's the ongoing basis for that will still need to be done.
Brenda's full-time in the building department now?
Part-time.
Oh, you're part-time
No,
now?
she's a
Part-time,
full-time
part-time.
employee, but she's
Doing
being
half and half.
shared. She's doing
Correct.
half and half right now.
Okay.
Right, so she's not gonna be working,
So now we're gonna have 2 full-time instead of a part-time in 2 different offices,
Yes.
essentially?
Yes.
Okay.
well, but Karen's still gonna be helping out.
Yes.
In the,
So we'll have 2.5. We'll have Pam full-time,
Mhm.
but not all of her work is with assessing, but a
Right.
large part of it is. And then we would have Brenda as full-time appraiser in assessing. And then we have Karen, who is also helping with assessing, but she also does other projects as well. She's a shared part-time.
Okay, so he's gonna have 3 employees in that office now?
I guess, well, it's
But some of them are
assessor,
halves.
assessor supervisor.
He already
so-
has 3. He already has 3. It
Already
would
has
just,
three.
Brenda would go to full-time.
Right.
Okay.
so the increase is just, because Pam's staying the same, Karen's staying the same, the increase is Brenda from part-time to full-time.
Right.
That's the increase for
And
the department.
Stacy.
And
In
then,
the
right, I'm
department.
talking about for the assessing. And then for the building, what's Stacy been working right now?
Half-time, part-time.
Does she want, is she willing to work part-time? Or
Full-time.
is she willing to work
Yes.
full-time?
She is willing to work full-time.
Okay.
And she said she would need to give a 2 weeks' notice, so that's why we have a start date of the 18th, March 18th.
And she's been working out fine, because she's only been in there for how long now?
She's
A few months? 6 months?
Oh, we've done that
About
long
6
already?
months.
About 6 months.
Time just goes.
Yeah, it does. Stacy Lawrence was hired to work up to an average of 24 hours per week in the building department, August of 18.
Oh, wow, okay.
One of the things that surprised me is when we had talked, you and I and Bill, we had talked about possibly doing option number 2 until the fall to see how it panned out, instead of jumping right to number 1. So I'm sort of taken aback by the suggestion for number 1 right off the bat.
I would say that's where we're headed, that's where we're gonna go.
Right.
I mean, it'd be nice to do it right away. I just put that there because I wasn't sure what the board felt about this, and because it was kind of a surprise, hey, we're looking to hire a full-time or a part-time person, and now we're really wanting full-time.
I think we're gonna end up having a full-time appraiser, so why not do it? My hang-up was get it into the policy, that's it. If it's not in the policy, I don't go for it, but.
Well, didn't we do that last meeting?
We
Where
approved it. We approved
positions?
it.
Oh,
But
it
it's
didn't.
not made
But
yet.
it's not.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to bring some policy revisions to the board, but I just didn't have time with all this in the agenda.
But we need to
get that
approve.
It would have
Revisions
been,
of the policy.
it would have been number Q
Yes.
on the agenda.
Yes.
So we'll bring all those to the next meeting, the policy revisions. Any other discussion? All right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Cordella to hire Brenda Cataret as full-time appraiser 2, to hire Stacy Lawrence as full-time building department administrative assistant beginning March 18th, 2019, and make the following budget amendments. And
The first part of my motion, though, was to add this job to our policy.
okay.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't we need to
Don't
do
we
that
Include it
wanna-
in our
separate?
policy.
don't we want to see it to approve it? But we will, and we can. do
Okay.
that. To add the job to our policy and to hire Brenda
Did that
Cataret.
motion at the last meeting.
That's what I thought,
We
but apparently.
did, we approved it at our last meeting, the
Okay,
job.
then you
I
can
thought
take
we
it
did.
off.
Okay, are you okay with taking that off?
Yeah.
Chris,
Pardon me?
are you okay with taking the part to add that to our policy off the motion? So the motion would be just as it's printed?
presented.
Just as it's printed.
Because we've already
Because
agreed.
we've
Last
already
meeting,
done.
we
That's
already,
what I thought.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I was like, okay. I think the way I understood it from Candy was basically, it was like, we just need to get it into the policy, that's all. And so I was like, okay, yeah, it's already been approved, we already agreed. So, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so we'll go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Okay, welcome to assessing full-time, Brenda.
And all the headaches that go along with it.
On the 18th.
Yes, on the 18th. Okay, next we
Expectations are
have,
huge.
we have a resolution regarding the use of the township parcels and future municipal complex. And this is a resolution that was drafted by our township attorney, and it is just to make sure that going forward, since we've already approved moving 1.1 million to Fire E&H to purchase new vehicles, this resolution is just to have so that going forward, future boards can look at this to know that any sale of that property is going to be split 50-50, and the whole municipal complex will be a 50-50 undertaking, even though it's registered as township property.
Correct.
So, any questions for the fire chief on this? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the resolution regarding use of parcels as presented on here, future fire station and future township municipal complex.
So moved.
As presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Rumble to approve the resolution regarding use of township parcels 0319-201-003 and 0319-127-001, AKA future fire station and future township municipal complex, as presented. Any discussion? All right, let's do a roll call, please.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have the approval of to purchase a fire pumper and tanker. One suggestion I have in this suggested motion, it's to, the balance of the money into general fund, instead of designated, we'll change to committed, because the assessors want us to use committed and restricted, so we'll make it a committed fund for E&H.
Where was this at now?
It's at the bottom, where it says general fund designated, we'll just change designated to committed.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Would you like to present the pumper and the
Yep, and
tanker?
I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. We started the process 7 months ago, a little over 7 months at this point. We have a combination of both full-time and paid call staff, so that way we get input from all of our fire personnel. And we spent that time writing up specs, looking at trucks, visiting different trucks, different departments, looking at different specs, changing this, changing that. And we finally came down to a truck that is going to, both of these trucks, at pieces of apparatus will serve Brandon Township for the next 25 years. So we're comfortable with it. I will say when we first started out, it was kind of like kids in the candy store. We wanted everything. And when we got done, I had to be dad and go, no, you can't have everything. The trucks, if we'd have bought at that stage, we'd have been at $1.5 million. And it was just, was crazy. So we spent a lot of time. There were some heated discussions, but ultimately, everybody's in favor of these two vehicles. We then took and sent those specs out to 4 companies. Of the 4, we only received 2 back for pricing, and that was KME and Pierce. And I have included a spreadsheet that shows that KME, by paying cash, we are going to save an additional $115,324 over the Pierce. And by paying cash, we are also saving finance charges in the neighborhood of $280,605. So by doing what we're doing, by the township giving us the funds, we have saved taxpayers, and I am one of those as well, close to $400,000. So I think this is a really, really benefit to our township residents, as well as the fire department. I have drawings on the board. These are what we are looking at. Color schemes, we're still going to work out, but it is going to definitely be, we're still going to have our yellow, and we'll probably be spicing it up a little bit with some black. So, okay. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I just know you have a long agenda tonight.
Chief, real quick, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, quick,
Go
Chris.
ahead.
I didn't see your hand up.
That's right, that's right.
Just looking at those drawings from here, what's the difference between what is it, a pumper and a tanker, or?
Yeah.
Yep. So the pumper carries 1,000 gallons of water.
Could you
Yep.
go over the chart and just show me which is which?
This is the pumper.
Okay,
This is our tanker.
okay.
Pumper carries 1,000 gallons of water, but it carries all of our equipment.
Pump.
And when we talk about the equipment, we talk about SCBA's or Scott packs or the breathing apparatus. We talk about extrication equipment. We talk about cribbing. we talk about foam, we talk about tools, fans, just a lot of extra equipment that we need at a fire scene.
Yeah.
When we talk about a tanker, the tanker is just carrying water and some ancillary equipment.
Like
So
a
it doesn't need
swimming
as
pool.
much storage, and you'll notice there's only a few storage compartments as opposed to the engine. The engine, or the pumper, also has seating for 4 people, 2 in the front and then 2 in the back.
How much does the tanker hold?
Tanker will hold 2,000 gallons of water. And for us, that's important. Now, we looked at having a tanker that was similar to what we have out at Station 3, which is the 3,500 gallon, but it's bigger, tandem axle, more costly, and we were trying to stay around that $1 million is where we were really, really trying to focus. And if we would have gone the other way, then we would have had to make some other cuts and changes, and I don't think we would have made it to the $1 million, Dana. So, what we're replacing the tanker with is also a 2,000 gallon tanker.
Okay, so we're not
So,
downgrading our...
we're not downgrading, we're keeping same.
Okay,
Engine's the same way. It's 1,000 gallons of water, and we're gonna keep that.
okay.
Chief?
Yes, sir.
Is there any onboard equipment on the current apparatus that has to be transferred over to the new apparatus?
Yes, there will be.
Okay.
Yep.
And what is the anticipated downtime? Are we going to need that equipment?
Well, we have 2 other stations.
Right.
So the other equipment, as that is, there will definitely be some downtime because we'll have to change radios.
Right.
We're going to have to move the SCBA's. We'll have to move the equipment. So there's going to be some downtime there. How long? Probably a couple of days to get all that worked out and get everything mounted. It may be a week at the most.
Okay, because my next question to that is, do we have a guaranteed deliver date?
We don't have a guaranteed delivery date. We won't get that until we sign the contract with them. But we're looking 10 to 12 months out, so about this time next year.
Okay, so when are they going to have to take the apparatus, the current equipment from the current apparatus and put it on the new apparatus if we're looking at 10 months down the line?
Once they get it here. We won't make that.
So they actually make the delivery and then they transfer over?
Yeah, and then we'll do
Okay,
the
all right.
transfer. And because what we'll have to do is we'll have to set up in the compartments
Right.
of how we want the equipment, how we want it mounted, and we'll have to, there'll be some other ancillary stuff that we'll have to purchase down the road, but
Okay,
we'll have to approach that when we get there, because we don't know where we'll be at that point.
right, okay.
I hope that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other questions? Would someone like to make the suggested motion?
I'll make the motion
I'll second it.
as presented. No, as amended. Sorry, as amended.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Rumble to approve the purchase of a 2019 custom pumper and a 2019 commercial tanker from KME through the Michigan dealer Payette Sales and Service Incorporated for a combined total of $1,011,810 from the Township General Fund carry forward, and then move the remaining balance of money into a general fund committed fund for E&H until the fire chief requests to move the funds into E&H. Okay, any discussion? Well, looks like we're ready to vote, so roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
An enthusiastic yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you.
Unanimously.
We'll keep you up to date as a project, once we get started, and as we make our trips for inspections, and we'll make sure that we keep that on the Facebook page as well, so that way our residents will also see.
Where's the company located out of?
They're actually in Nescahoning, Pennsylvania, so,
And we'll look forward to depleting our carry forward.
well, thank you, we appreciate it.
Good job, Chief.
Yes.
Excellent job.
Okay, next we have the Recreation Passport Grant Submission and Authorization. So there are 2 resolutions that need to be approved for this grant. One is the local support for recreation passport grant submission, and another one for authorization local unit of government match. And would you like two separate approvals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, there's two things for each grant. There's the two separate grants, but we got the submission and the authorization. Do you have to read this, or can we just make the motion?
We can make the motion to approve it. Who would like to make a motion to approve the resolution for local support for recreation passport grant submission?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
Let's go get it.
Okay. I have a motion by trustee DePalma, and it is second by trustee Rumble to approve the resolution for local support for recreation passport grant submission as presented. And you need a roll call. Roll call, please.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So then who would like to make a motion to approve the resolution for authorization local unit of government match
I'll make the
as
motion.
presented?
I'll support.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by trustee DePalma to approve the resolution for authorization local unit of government match as presented. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
32, the 32 is from here.
This next one is the one that's been amended. They gave us an amended one. Numbers were wrong on the first one, so I just amended it, this one. Parks and Rec.
Okay,
Computer program
Fred,
rather.
do you have this in front of you?
Which
Okay.
one?
The second one.
The one we just approved, the authorization of local unit of government match.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
That goes with.
Yeah, down here it's
So
at
here's
82.
82
The
and
next
there's
one
82.
should be the next one.
We're looking at this, whereas the Charter Township of Brandon has made a financial commitment to the project in the amount of $8,800 matching funds.
The third
and
one down.
cash and in force account, and so then in the now therefore be it resolved, through financial commitment and donation of $8,200.
oh, I got wrong number.
25% of 32.5 is 81 with some change.
So is the 88 supposed to be 82? Or is the 82 supposed to be 88?
It's gotta be what's on the resolution, 82.
82.
Mhm.
I didn't see anything on
On the one we
the
already-
first resolution.
Yes,
Just
this
the
should be
second one,
82 as
Candy.
opposed to 88.
Yeah.
I was told by the DNR, Mary Carlock, that the local support letter, the submission letter, we don't need that anymore. It's just the resolution we need.
Okay.
But it doesn't hurt to have it.
But are the amounts correct?
Yes.
See,
On the
this one says
resolutions?
88 here, but down here it says
82.
82, and down here it says 82.
It's 82.
So this top one should
So
be
does this
82.
need to be amended?
With the resolution.
So that needs to be amended.
Yes.
Just gotta fix that
Okay.
number.
All right.
So are you doing as amended?
Yes, as
And
amended.
then,
Yes.
are you
Or
as
you did that
amended?
one, didn't
I did that one. Yes.
Okay, so this will be as amended, and does everyone want to keep their vote the same as
Yes.
amended?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it'll be the same. Instead of as presented, it'll be as amended.
Right.
Okay, so we'll move on to the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Is that what we just did? No, we
Yes.
just did passport. Okay.
And
We're
there's
going to
two on this
the
next
rec
one as
desk,
well.
to Rec Pro.
No, we got another
Second
resolution.
grant.
First.
Land and Water Conservation Fund grant submission and authorization.
Yes, there's two parts to
So,
each grant.
yep.
We did the passport one already.
All right, so
All
let's
right,
look
gotcha.
this over and see if there's any amendments first.
The numbers look fine.
Well,
I just
numbers are
did
good on
that.
that one.
Did you?
I looked at it. I didn't catch that on the last one, sorry.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it looks good.
I looked at it, brought it to Kathy.
Okay, do you want to give us a brief overview of this one? This is for
The le- It's identical to the grant we wrote last year, money, everything, the blueprints, that's why it was so easy to do this year. So the money is identical, it's going to be for the concession stand / comfort station, additional parking, accessible walking, wayfinding, signage, solar lighting, benches, picnic tables, and trash cans.
Okay. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the local support for land and water conservation grant submission resolution as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Rumble to approve local support for land and water conservation grant submission resolution as presented. And we'll do a roll call, please.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
And then for that one, we also have an authorization local unit of government match resolution. So would someone like to make a motion to approve this as presented?
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion by Trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by Clerk Allen to approve the authorization local unit of government match resolution as presented. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. One thing I want to add, I said it was identical from last year. There is a few changes because we was trying to get 10 points more. So,
Slipping that
Yeah.
through. Huh?
yeah, so the scoring sheet had comments of what to pick up on, and so I did all that. And it's due April 1st, so I'll be needing stuff from the clerks when it's ready.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is the Rec Pro software, and maybe you can give us a rundown of why you need to switch to Rec Pro from the Rec Desk.
So we started out with RecDesk with board approval, and we did our demo, we did our training, and my administrative assistant, Kara Titus, says that she's not very happy with it, wasn't very friendly. There was too much information going out to site directors on the children. It was more work, and we come to find out it wasn't quite what we wanted. And we didn't pay nothing for it. We had the free trial. And so our next step was to go with Rec Pro. That was our second option. We stayed with the first option because I watch over the budget and make sure we don't spend too much money. But we did allow $5,000 towards software for online registration and categorizing all the different sports and things like that, recreation programs that we do. So now we're at, I attended M Parks, and I also attended a meeting down in Farmington Hills, and I brought up the question on who uses what, and the majority of the people there, nobody used RecDesk except for Grand Blanc. Down south of us, they use Rec Pro. It's also works with BSNA, so where RecDesk didn't. And we can, with Rec Pro, we can pull out certain things and add certain things. Like if a child had allergies, we can add that, but we don't want to give off addresses or some private stuff where RecDesk you couldn't change any of that. So currently, we use Class Track, and we get to put pretty much what we want in there. It's really outdated. So Karen and I have been talking to these reps, and like I said, I went to a couple of seminars. And this will work out for us. I won't come back to the board. As far as the credit card, it's pretty much the same way that Rest Desk was going to do. The 3% was going to be charged back to the registered person, and then we get the paper trail coming in. The treasurer is going to have to work up some kind of an account where it goes through, the money goes through there, and then eventually to our programs. So.
Okay, any questions or discussion on this?
So you're asking for approval to purchase it at 4,500, but we already have the 3,600 sitting there, right? So we're only spending an extra 900, right?
I haven't spent any money whatsoever. We budgeted $5,000. With Rec Pro, it starts out at the 4,500, then it drops down to
3750, I think.
37, yeah, somewhere around there. It keeps dropping for the next few years, and then it goes back up a couple $100.
Okay, so you just need us to approve to purchase it
Instead of
the
the
other
rec
one,
desk,
but
yeah.
the money's already there, so it's not like you need to find the extra 900.
No.
Okay.
I'll make the motion as presented.
I'll support. Wait a second.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by trustee DePalma to approve the purchase of Rec Pro software instead of Rec Desk software at the cost of $4,500 from line 508-117-000 office supplies.
Did you get the new copy, right? You got the right numbers?
Yep.
117-727.
Oh, yes. 508-117-727-000. I wrote it down, but I forgot to cross off this one. Okay, any discussion or questions for the Parks and Rec director?
Yeah, just one. Fred, you mentioned that the price changes from year to year. Can you explain that a little bit more?
It goes down, the initial setup and training, that's why it's more the first year. So now we're trained, so we don't need no more training, so the price drops.
Okay. How much? Just
It
to,
was the
It's right here on your
3750.
second page.
$37.50. I didn't.
oh, okay. That was on the second page.
So it drops.
Every 5 years, they can raise it up to 15%.
Oh, okay.
Did
Yeah.
his homework.
Okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
it was all detailed out here. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I should have included the literature I got with it, but I didn't.
Oh, that's fine.
You got this?
Yeah, that.
It's in our packet.
Oh, they do that?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
put it in
that's there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by trustee Rumble and is seconded by trustee DePalma to approve this purchase of Rec Pro software instead of the Rec Desk software at the cost of $4,500 from line 508-117-727-000 office supplies. Okay, if there's no further discussion, let's roll call, please.
Darnell,
Yeah.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries
you.
unanimously.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Fred. All right, next we have a return of the tobacco and vaping ordinance, second reading. So we looked at this last month at our meeting. Are there any questions?
Nope, I'll make the motion to adopt the second reading and amendment to the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 28, Article 8, Offense Concerning Underage Persons, amending and replacing with new Section 28-491 to read tobacco and vapor products, ordinance attached into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? We discussed it last month. Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma, and it is seconded by trustee Rumble to adopt for second reading an amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 28, Article 8, offenses concerning underage persons, amending and replacing with new Section 28491 to read tobacco and vapor products ordinance attached into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan. Okay, since there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
DePalma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Rumble.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Darnell.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So we can move on to the harassment ordinance for second reading. So this we looked at again last month. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Support.
Is there any discussion on this one? We think we looked at it last month. I brought my copy from last month if anyone's interested in the rest of it. Okay, so we have no further discussion, so this is a motion made by trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by clerk Allen to adopt for second reading an amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 28, Article 3, for offenses against persons, replacing with new Section 28-52 to read stalking and harassment, misdemeanor, with the ordinance that was attached in our last packet, into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Rumble.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Darnell.
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So now we can move on to the tri-party program. Okay, so I had a conversation with Tom Nochel from the Road Commission for Oakland County, and our $2 million gravel paving project is now a $2.9 million project. And I did not do a good explanation to you as regarding the extra $900,000 and how that would get paid. So I'm going to try to cover that right now. The federal funding will cover up to $2 million. So if that's their part of it, we can do a $2.5 million project to get the 80% of federal funding at $2 million. So with that, there's $900 left over because the feds are going to pay for $2 million, so then we have $900,000. That gets split 50-50 between the township and the road commission. So for our $550,000 that we own, we're going to use $334,000 of the tri-party funds that we have available. And we can also use the $76,317 of Metro funds. And that brings us to owing $39,177. And those funds, they said there's a couple things that can happen here. They can ask the feds if they have any additional funding. If there's other funding for other projects that don't get used this year, we can use some of that, which will make our portion less that we owe. We can also use Metro Authority funds that we have coming in this year for this project. And we can also use our tri-party funds that we're going to get for next year. He said we can also use that toward this project. So I think there's probably a way we can find the 39,177 without having too much trouble.
Just trying to, so you said we had the 450, out of the 450, 334,506 allocated already, right? Is that the
For
amount?
tri-party, yep.
Okay.
So you subtract that out, and then we've got,
The 76,317 for.
yep, Metro
That's how you
Authority.
got to the 39, okay.
Yep.
I just didn't get the whole 334, but I see it now. Okay. So you wanted to transfer already the 30 of the 39, so we only have to come up with another 9? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Well, we've already got in our budget to transfer this 30,000 into tri-party committed.
Okay.
So, as budgeted. And then, so really, it's just a commitment to spend the tri-party funds and the Metro Authority funds on the Sashbaugh Road paving project this year. And that leaves us with $20,000 that we have budgeted for road repairs, and to use that for gravel projects.
You're taking 20,000 out of the gravel project.
Out of the 30 that's going in, you're
No,
taking 20.
the 20,000, if you look at your budget for roads there's 20,000 budgeted for roads, and there's 30,000 budgeted to be transferred. So that's both of those are already in our budget.
My question is, I think it's a basic question. Why did we all of a sudden have $900,000 more than anticipated that's being charged?
Costs of construction, I guess, is the answer, because.
That's a lot.
I thought
Yeah,
that's
like
how
in how
we-
many, that's like a third almost. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gone up, it was 2 million, it went up, $1 million went up half.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost. And that was just in a year. When's the last time we got the quote on the 2 million?
Well, hasn't been a year. We put this in the queue probably 4 or 5 years ago.
A long time ago.
How long is this section again?
It's a mile.
1 mile.
It's 1 mile.
$3 million for a mile. That's great.
Yeah, crazy.
1 mile paving.
Yikes. That's why we still have a lot of dirt roads.
Gonna be happy.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Bob, what do you think? Someone's gonna be happy when you get that contract.
Yeah.
See, right here's the $30,000 that's ready to be transferred to tri-party.
Wow. Yeah.
And then in the roads and streets,
Okay.
you have 20,000 for road repairs.
Find a construction company to buy.
So then what will we use for road repair? We're taking it out of that.
No, we're not taking, we would use the 20,000 that we have budgeted for road repair,
Okay. So it doesn't have anything to do with,
This says that on here.
right, I
In the
know,
motion, it says use the 20,000 for gravel.
for gravel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but last year, didn't we have like 84 in there, and we used 81, and then you're taking 20 out of that? That was my question.
84 and 81 for what?
For gravel.
No, we didn't spend that much on gravel. We
We
spent
spent
20,000 because that's what we had budgeted last
Okay.
year as well.
All right.
Here's roads and streets, road repairs, 20,000, right there.
Okay.
So that's just for road repairs, we'll just spend it on gravel. Because they want to know this early in the year that we're committing that
All
money
those funds
to the gravel so that they can purchase it.
So there's really two motions here. One is for the paving project and one is for the gravel.
Yeah.
So again,
Go ahead and spend it.
You're right.
On that, yeah. And,
This-
so the money's already budgeted for it. It's just to go ahead and do it.
So again, maybe I'm being oversimplistic here. When we get a quote from the road commission that is going to be $2 million, and
It's an estimate.
there's
not
no
a
way
quote.
there's no way we can lock them in,
It's not.
they can go up
Because-
almost an extra $1 million? That just seems incredible to me.
They are sending this out for bid. They don't know the exact amount even now. Like I said in here, after it goes out for bid, then we'll have a more concrete amount of what it's gonna cost,
So it could conceivably be more.
conceivably, yes.
So is there a point that we say we're not going to pave this road?
Yeah, well,
I mean, we've been working
Yeah,
on this
no.
for how many years? That we
As
can't
the-
afford to pave
As the
this
price keeps
road.
going up, why would we say, yes, go ahead and do it? Do we have that option at some point? They can price themselves right out of a project?
I would think we could.
I would think so.
Yeah.
It's a lot
That
of
just,
money.
that seems a lot of money for a mile. I mean,
That would buy a lot of
I've never
gravel.
built a lot of roads, but it just seems like a lot of money for a mile.
Our cost went up, our cost basically went up 250,000. Because if it was a $2 million project,
Right.
Fed would pay 80%, so that'd be 400, divide that by 2 would be 200. So our cost went up 250.
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, and if it
It
comes.
is, I mean, but
and
we're
what if
paying,
it
basically, we're
comes-
paying 450 for a mile.
Well-
We're paying the rest.
What if it becomes a lot more and we don't have the funds, then what happens?
Right.
That would be my question more of, I mean, we said we're gonna do it, we committed to it, we've been saving the funds, it's been out there, I don't think you can say we're not
I
gonna
don't
do
think you
it.
can back out of it.
But the question is what do we come up with the funds if it's a lot more, and we don't have the funds, then what happens?
Well, I guess
Back in the queue.
I guess my position would be if they
If it
have
goes
the
up more.
option of raising the price, then we have the option of saying, that's too much, sorry.
And I think if it's gonna cost, if our
Didn't you say-
portion's gonna be more than what we've got,
We can use next year's tri-party
we can,
funds.
yeah, but I can always bring it back to the board and the board can decide, no, this is way too expensive.
Well, what I don't wanna see happen is that we use all the funds for graveling, and then we have nothing to gravel, repair some roads and gravel the roads for the summer, cause the roads
Well,
obviously
that's
need
why
that
we're
too.
making this motion here.
Because I wasn't on the board at
Gravel.
the time when this was decided to do, this project was decided on. What was the, what was the thinking as the advantages of paving a mile of Sashabaw?
Well, number one, we had this project requested by quite a few of the residents that lived on that section. The other thing is, the way Sashabaw is going north, you're on a straightaway and it goes right from blacktop to gravel, and right at that spot
Right.
is,
It's always
it's
deteriorating.
always really deep potholes and
Right.
it's dangerous. So by paving this mile, it will go up to a crossroad where where the road will naturally stop. So it's a safer spot to end the road.
Okay.
And we,
I'm not sure I follow that logic, but okay. I just was curious.
in addition to the people that live on the road, there's people at the end, there's like
Oh,
a new
right,
subdivision
right.
up there, and so there's a lot of people that are looking forward to having this paved.
And they've been
and
looking
he's
forward
one
to it
of
for
them.
years.
Can I say something? A few things?
Does the board want to hear from a resident on the road?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, come on up here.
I'm gonna say anything negative, right? No, I just know a few things.
All right, for one, if you stop it now, you're in for a big lawsuit from the county because they've already paid us for our right-of-ways. Almost everybody that's went down it. Two, they've done boring samples all up and down the road. They're gonna have to dig down to the old timbers. The reason the road heaves so much in the spring and the fall during the frost is the old way of doing it was they laid logs, put the dirt on it, gravel and all that. They're digging that all out, all the way down, taking that out, backfilling, putting fiber down and all this stuff to make it more substantial of a road to make it stay. I mean,
And what Rick is saying, they've already put some work into this that we would.
they
be
started on
paying.
it. It says June, it's already started.
Yeah, they're out there now.
They brush hogged it last week. Today they started cutting trees. They've already taken 8 feet of my yard and everybody up and down our road. So that's why I say you'll end up with a lot of lawsuits.
Who's they when you keep referring
They're
to
pulling
they?
a bunch
Is
of
that
wires out there right
the
now,
road
too.
commissioner?
No, that's AT&T doing fiber optics already along our road.
Okay, but I mean, the people that are doing the work are,
No, the people that are brush hogging, as the county has already hired a company
Right.
to cut the trees, do all the brush hugging along the road.
That's what I'm asking.
That's
Road-
done.
Road Commission of Oakland County.
The road commission is overseeing the project. They are not necessarily going to be the ones that are doing the
Right,
construction.
they're just overseeing it.
Sending that
They're
out to
there,
bid.
like right now, there's one truck, one guy sitting there, that's the $900,000. He sits there and watches the other 5 guys do the work.
Well, that makes me feel better. Thanks,
I'm just
Rick. I
letting you know.
appreciate that.
When the project gets going, you're gonna have 10 guys out there watching them work.
Yeah, well, thanks for the truth. I
But-
appreciate that.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, they've been working on that road for like a month. I drive through there every morning
Yeah.
taking my daughter to school.
Trees are marked, they haven't got to, they've probably done 300 feet, 320 feet cutting the trees
Yeah,
today.
I just was wondering who, when you
But
kept saying.
I've already gotten my
they-
check, cashed it for the frontage they bought off of me. I know 3 or 4 people that they've already bought land off of.
Are you going to donate that to the township to help pay for it? or-
Oh, no, I'm taking the water from the road. That was the agreement. They bought my culvert and the rights to drain the road into my property.
Oh, my.
So, and it was less than what they offered. Tell you that. I took less than what they offered. So,
All right, thank you. I think that was helpful.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll make this motion after all that talk.
Okay.
I'll second.
No, that's the job I want.
Yeah.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by trustee DePalma to transfer $30,000 to tri-party committed 2500006994964 as budgeted, spend our committed tri-party and Metro Authority funds on the Sashabaw Road paving project, and spend up to $20,000 from road repairs 101-464-779-000 for our road commission for our Oakland County gravel projects. Any more discussion on this? Okay, roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yeah.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
She's trying to outdo you.
I'm like Bob, it's a yes.
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Okay, next we have the appointments for the Board of Review. So Board of Review is coming up next week. So we need to get these people appointed. They get appointed every other year. So I'm just behind in getting this to the board for approval. So I'm looking to reappoint Dan Ledgerwood, Christine Zane, and Jane Derry Burkett to the Board of Review. And then Scott Broughton came in. He also expressed an interest in the Board of Review, so I thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and make him alternate member. We used to have 2 alternate members. When did I say that was?
2011.
Okay. Right now, we have no alternates, so I thought it'd be a good idea to have an alternate. So now, since we don't really have these people appointed, they've still been working in the capacity of Board of Review members, and we offered to send them for training. 2 of them said they would be able to attend the Michigan Township Association training for Board of Review. And at the last minute, one of them said they couldn't make it. So at that point, we asked Scott if he would like to go in their place, and he was available, so we sent him. So at this point, I'm looking for board approval to pay for the February 20th workshop expenditures. And on here I have from appropriate lines in the Board of Review and Assessing Departments. But what I'd like to do is, in the Board of Review Cost Center, we do not have a line created for education and mileage. So I would like to also create an education line and put $500 in it, and a mileage line and put $300 in it. So who would like to make a motion to appoint Dan Ledgerwood, Christine Zane, and Jane Derry Burkett to the Board of Review, and to appoint Scott Broughton as an alternate member to the Board of Review with terms of office beginning March 5th, 2019, and ending December 31st, 2020, to pay for the February 20th workshop expenditures from appropriate lines in the Board of Review and Assessor departments, and create Education 101-247-960-000 with $500, and create a
No, see.
mileage line 101-247-860-000 for $300.
Wouldn't we have to do that first? Create the line so that we can actually appropriate money from the line?
Well, we're gonna do it all at one time, and we can do it this way.
Okay.
So
I'll
our,
make that motion.
okay, thank you.
I'll second.
All right, is there any discussion? People are shaking their heads, so let's go ahead and roll call, please.
Would you mind reading the numbers again?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay, create an education line 101-247-960-000 with $500, and a mileage line 101-247-860-000 with $300.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella, Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. We can move on to our MMRMA renewal, and it went up $2,000 from last year. Any questions?
I'll make the motion as presented.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this? All right, I have a motion by trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by trustee DePalma, to approve the MMRMA renewal contract as presented and allow the supervisor to sign the contract as member representative. Okay, roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell.
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Now we've got our cleanup days contract. So I got with Bedrock, and they're good with the two dates that being presented, June 22nd and August 24th for cleanup days. And that will be out at the park again. And I gave you a chart of how many loads we've been getting, and you can see that the number of loads is going up. So the number of dumpsters that we've been using has also been going up, and which means our expenditure's been going up.
So how much
So
was it
we
last
have-
year?
I think it went over budget last year.
I didn't say 17 to 18 wasn't a huge increase, but all the other years were, like when it went from 13 to 14, and then 15 to 16, and 16 to 17.
101,944.
Basically, are you saying that there were 320 dumpsters?
No, loads, people.
Oh, that's because that was my
That's
question.
how many carloads came in.
Oh, okay, all right.
Com-
That's a lot of garbage out there.
I was thinking it, $250
So
a
last
pop.
year, we spent $9,448 on this.
What did we
And I-
budget?
7,500, so now, this year, we're budgeting 10,000.
So it's basically $5,000 a day.
Mm-hmm. Which is a steal compared to, when we did it at the high school, we were spending like $45,000
Oh, wow.
a year
Holy
to do
smokes.
that.
All right, I'll make the motion.
I'll support.
Too late, Dana, too late.
I know.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Rumble and is supported by clerk Allen to enter into and approve the 2019 cleanup, recycling, and refuse collection agreement with Bedrock Express Limited as presented. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. All right, next is the Tyson agreement. Any questions on this one?
Oh, I'm all for saving $1,400. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Sorry, Dana. Late.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Rumble, and it is seconded by trustee DePalma to approve the Studio Tyson LLC invoice for $3,600 as presented. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
DePalma,
Oh, yes, sorry.
Cordella,
Didn't hear her.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. And that brings us to our dust control program, which is the same as last year. And since we've split up doing 5 applications on the busy roads and 4 applications on the less busy roads, I haven't gotten any complaints, because I used to get complaints, oh, you're putting too much chloride on, or you're not putting on enough chloride, so.
I'll make that motion.
I haven't had any.
So should,
Who would like to second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
My question is, does any go on Sashaba, and should it,
Oh,
The rest is
because it's
Sashaba.
gonna be paid?
yeah, so do we get like that miles worth to go somewhere else?
That's a good point, and I'll bring that up to them.
Yeah.
We'll put it somewhere.
Put it somewhere else. I mean, come on, we already spent 900,000 extra on paving it.
Yeah,
That you can put on the roads now.
Put it somewhere else, yes.
okay,
Yeah.
good point.
Yay.
All right, so I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee DePalma to submit a request to the Road Commission for Oakland County to accept their 2019 blanket program for 5 applications of chloride to the roads listed on the chart as presented, and 4 applications of chloride to the remaining secondary roads in Brandon Township for a total of $81,752.42. Okay. Any questions? So I did change one word when I read this, listed on the chart as presented instead of above.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. No, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. All right, got my stuff done, now it's your turn.
I'm tired. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is the cemetery maintenance contract. I am asking that we hire Chestnut Outdoor Services LLC for 2 years, as they have come to the rescue for this township 4 times out of the last 6 years. Other contractors have dropped the ball, they've had to be let go for various reasons, and I always call Chestnuts, and they are there and do fantastic. He did in his proposal write that they were willing to, he only put in there for 1 year for 2019. I reached out to him and said, what would you charge for 2020? And he said the same price, no increase. So I was very pleased for that too. And just so the audience knows that they've done our safety path maintenance for years, and they do our senior center maintenance, and they do the back of this building, and they have for years, and we always have great work out of them. So I'm very appreciative for that. So I would like to make a motion to offer Chestnut Outdoor Services LLC a 2-year contract approved by the township attorney and to have the clerk sign. Also to amend the 2019 cemetery budget as follows. Increase expenditure line 209-203-702.209 to $20,000 and decrease expenditure line 209-203-955-209 to $6,500.
I'll support it.
So is the amount you're increasing equal to what you're decreasing?
I don't know.
I should have looked that up. I didn't read it.
Oh, so she's increasing by 3,500. She's decreasing by 3,500.
So it's the same?
It is the
Okay.
same.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dana.
Okay, thanks.
My deputy
I just
actually
meant
wrote
these
this.
two numbers weren't the same when I looked at it. I'm like, well, those two numbers definitely aren't the same.
I was not in the office today, and my deputy wrote this.
So the cemetery
did a
contract
good
is
job.
going up 3,500.
Yes.
And then you're gonna take it out of miscellaneous expense.
Oh,
'cause
that's
in the-
right. We discussed
In the
that.
past, you haven't used the, wait, is that the miscellaneous line? Yeah, the miscellaneous line, you haven't used anywhere close to 10.
Correct.
And so you don't think you'll need all of that there. Is that correct?
Well,
Or do you have something going on there?
we haven't paid our tree maintenance guy who did the work in 18 yet. I haven't paid him yet, so
How much is that?
$11,500.
So you're gonna be short then $5,000 there.
Yeah, because he didn't give me a bill yet.
So you're gonna be short.
I have
5,000.
money in my designated
I just
and
missed-
committed.
Okay. And you do have a carry forward.
So, do we want to approve as the motion and then make a budget amendment later in the year? Or do
Yeah,
we
once you
want?
get the
For
bill.
the
Yeah, once you get the
designated-
bill.
Once she gets the bill, we'll have to take some out of the designated, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll wait for the bill.
Can't
When
pay
it
it till you
comes.
get it.
Exactly.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Rumble to offer Chestnut Outdoor Services LLC a 2-year contract approved by the Township Attorney and have the clerk sign. Also to amend the 2019 cemetery budget as follows. Increase expenditure line 209-203-702-209 to $20,000 and decrease expenditure line 209-203-955-209 to $6,500. Correct? Okay. Any questions?
I was just looking at the committed though. I don't see 5,000 that can be taken.
There's 3,166.
But that says it's gotta start, it says restricted funds can only be used for projects that monies were deposited for and cannot be reclassified to different projects. Do you know what that money was deposited for?
Perpetual care
Okay, and the tree is perpetual care then?
is part of that cemetery, yes ma'am.
Okay, so you got 3 there and then you would need another 2.
Well, we typically send some from the general fund.
Yes, we
So
do.
What lines are those?
Like $30,000 last year. Yeah, we haven't.
Do
we
you
could do
remember the
that.
line on that?
No, I do not.
Let's see.
Where is it?
Yeah, because that's the one that was like out of place.
I know it was like 30,000.
Oh, shoot. Where is it? Are you in 109,944? 101,944? Here it is. 101,944,756,209. $38,000.
We haven't done any of that yet.
No.
No, and that's transferred to cemetery, so that 38,000's gotta go in there, but was that in the cemetery budget? It probably should have been in the cemetery budget.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So it'll get transferred, but that's money already spent.
Yeah. Well, might have to dip into our care fund.
Yeah, that could happen. And I think your carry forward in the cemetery budget increased from last year more than you budgeted.
I don't know.
Is it 209?
Right here, 209. Yeah, it's already over here. I'm over budget on my budget. How can this be?
What's that?
Here's my revenue, there's my disbursements.
You're just spending more than your revenue's coming in. So,
She's gonna have another 2 there.
so your actual, I'm looking at 2018, her budget compared to her actual. So where did, it looks like you had a $25,000 increase that you hadn't planned, so, from last year. So I believe she would have enough in carry forward. Because according to this, her actual carry forward is $45,000.
Right, instead of 19.
Yeah.
But you're not sure once the auditors get done though, but yeah. Okay.
Oh. That was budgeted. Revenue was budgeted. Oh, because you spent less than you budgeted. But
Isn't that always good?
that is good. But if you look.
21,000.
Mhm. Oh, it's this 10 here. And 4, and the 6, yeah. Yeah, so she didn't spend as much as she was planning to last year.
Right, because she didn't pay the 11.
Exactly.
Oh, that's probably what
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
So that's, we found the money to pay for
Yep.
the trees. Yay.
It was there all the time.
Oh.
Okay, so I have a motion by Clerk Allen and it is seconded by Trustee Rumble, as I read. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
De Palma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously.
Yay.
And we're on our last item.
Okay. It's our CDBG. Every time we do a CDBG project, I have to put bids out in the newspaper, put it on the internet, go through this big ordeal that cost us money to get an architect that would do a design for the project and also do construction management services. So Oakland County suggested that we reach out, have a 3-year contract for one particular architect firm, which is what we did. 6 companies submitted bids and quotes, and Lisa and I went through them to give, total up their points. And I would like to award Arisman Associate, Inc., the contract for a 3-year architect design and management services for CDBG construction projects in Brandon Township, and have the clerk sign.
Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do we have a project in mind?
We have one right now.
We do.
Yes, we do. It's burial removal at our fire department.
I'm sorry to hear any loss you had over the fire department.
They're burying the old trucks.
It's barrier.
Oh, barrier, I thought you burial.
We were just on cemetery.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this is true. This is true. Put in automatic doors for the public to access
Okay,
it
all
to
right.
the building, and lower a counter at fire station number 2. It's not at ADA height. So
All right.
we have that.
I have a question that kind of goes together. Can we do something for 3 years, being that the board will be changing during that time, number one? And then number two, do we know that the CDBG money will always be coming in if we commit to a contract?
CDBG pays for these, the architect.
Okay.
Brandon Township pays, and then we're reimbursed by CDBG, which is a federal grant program. We have to pay first, then we get reimbursed.
But we know we'll be getting reimbursed for 3 years, like, I mean, it's
So
not gonna
if-
go away type of a deal.
Well, if we don't get the
If
money,
we
we don't
don't
need
have a
them.
project,
Right.
if we don't have a project, then we won't be
Right.
Pay 'em.
paying.
And it's only construction projects. We get CDBG funding that goes to our OSEP program, and
Right.
there's no manager there. I manage that.
Right, I just don't wanna commit to a project. So we're not committing to a project, really, we're just committing to use,
Right.
to
If there's a
contract to use them
project.
if there's a project.
and
Okay,
you
I
get
thought we
it.
were committing to a 3-year project. and I'm
No.
like,
Well, that sort of goes what I was trying to aim at is,
Right.
why would you commit to somebody to manage a program or a project if they don't necessarily have any experience in the particular management of the program we're entering into?
Well, the bidders had to tell us if they already have experience working with CDBG, Davis-Bacon Act, any federal programs. They had to be familiar with that, because there's a ton of paperwork. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, and it is very demanding.
I was more concerned about the actual hammer and nailing, that, they're actually able to do the projects that we need.
Well, for our 2019 money and 18 money that we have from federal, there's projects out there right now that we need. We need an architect to
Okay.
do, they do the RFP, which is the bid process. They're gonna take on all the management of it.
So we don't pay them anything now, by agreeing to do this, to say that they're gonna be our construction project manager for the next 3 years. It's only if a project comes up, we're not paying them to be like,
On
On
stand.
to be
retainer.
on
No.
retainer or any of
Nope.
that type of stuff. So if we have the money from CDBG that comes in, then we say, okay, we wanna do this project. We're just saying we're gonna use them, is all
Yes.
we're saying.
Yep.
There's no fee to this.
Right.
Okay. That's where I was confused. I thought we were trying to like pay something for them to do for the next
No.
3 years where we don't have the funds yet. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
And it really is not a bad idea to have this in place for the next board. It really isn't. I mean, there's some things that should be already preset.
Let the next board struggle like we have, that's what I
And
think.
Roslyn, who works in my department, is learning all the CDBG activities because she will be able to continue our township to go on the good path that we're still receiving the monies and using it properly, and so that's been my plan for the next clerk. Not walking into a hole.
Amen.
Okay, any other discussion on this? We have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Treasurer Darnell. And that motion is to award Ershman Associates Incorporated the contract for a 3-year architectural design and management services for CDBG construction projects in Brandon Township, and have the clerk sign. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, let's do a roll call, please.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So at this time, we will take citizens' comments. Okay.
Oh, no.
I didn't see that.
It's trouble.
Kathy.
Greg Gibbons, Brandon. I got one question. Kathy, you'd mentioned in a previous meeting that you were thinking about getting one garbage hauler for the township. I think that'd go a great long way of maintaining our roads, especially that extra $900,000 that we're spending. Because there's a boatload of semis and everything avoiding the Waymaster by going up that road. A lot of garbage trucks too, and they don't get weighed. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment?
Scott Broughton, Granger Road. I bought a couple of these light bulbs. They've been sitting here for 4 months now. It's kind of just, let's get rid of them. I'm going to be the one that ends up having to take them to NoHaz. So the point is, instead of trying to sell them on Craigslist, can we just give them away, put a little ad in the paper, hey, free light bulbs, take a box. You know, it's time to get rid of them. Who wants to buy used light bulbs besides me?
I heard Scott volunteered to take the no-haz. That's what I.
Yes.
Pete Kyer, Village of Ortonville. Any news on the completion of the kitchen? We're coming up to 6 months. It's been almost 2 months since anybody's even been there.
It's 98% completed. I think that's what it was last month, wasn't it?
Still is. Not one thing's been done.
All right, thank you very much.
That wasn't a comment,
Is there
Mr.
anyone
Kyer.
Well, you can answer board comments.
Hello. Hi, Kathy. I'm Shannon Pollock. And I'm Shannon Pollock to all of you. My home is located at 5790 William Drive. Forgive me, I'm going to have to read this. I'm nervous. I've never done this before. My well-documented concerns regarding code violations in my area can be located in your code enforcement office. This file will be labeled 5975 William Drive, and it dates back 14 years. In general, this involves numerous junk vehicles. It is unrealistic of me to expect that each trustee would be current or even aware of the impact this is having on so many homeowners. I respectfully ask and urge that each trustee review that file and drive past 5795 William Drive. That view is our view, every day, in and out. The trustees have a right and a duty to be well informed regarding township issues. See for yourself. Read for yourself. Future code enforcement will be directly affected by the way current code enforcement issues are being handled. In the future, a positive outcome means township resources will be, less township resources will be needed, and tax dollars less will be used. My neighbors, the township, and myself have a lot to gain if this case is resolved effectively. I am looking forward to the next township meeting, when you are all better informed and I can use my 3 minutes to speak more effectively. Once again, I want to thank Kathy. She's been very patient with me. This is a new process, and I appreciate that. Also, if this comes down to being an issue, I'll be glad to post it on Craigslist. I do stuff like that all the time, and I take pictures, and I'll be glad to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak this evening during citizen comment? Okay, seeing none, we will now do our board comments. So we'll start down at Chris's end this time around.
I have none. Glad to see the meeting went faster than I anticipated.
Okay, Trustee Marshall.
Ms. Pollock, I'd direct you to the Sheriff's Department maybe on the for code enforcement violations?
She's been
So
there.
you might want
I
to.
can comment on that.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
I'm well aware of,
Oh, okay,
aware of
okay.
that issue, and it's actually a township issue. It's not a criminal issue. I have been out there with Bill Denon because of that person's personality at that house. However, he has come in about a week ago. He came into the office to see me to present me with a large stack of valid plates for vehicles on that property. He showed me 18 valid registrations.
18.
And the only issue that I had, and I spoke to Bill Denon about it, is there is 18 valid plates. However, there is an area that you can't see into, and I have no idea how many vehicles are behind that fence, that wood privacy fence, and whether those plates match those vehicles. But he does have 18 plates, and I know there's a lot of cars on that property. And they have to have a valid plate on them, which it appears they may.
Thanks, LT.
Can I make a comment also quickly, without dragging this out? My concerns is that.
Sharon, can you come back up, please?
My concerns would be, I look at these vehicles every day when I drive to my home and out in my front yard, and I know these vehicles intimately. I know this, this file has its own zip code here. And I look at those vehicles, they haven't moved since I've been there 5 years. They had flat tires, they're sunken into the ground. And I find a hard time believing that these registrations or these plates are current with the Secretary of State. These vehicles need to be operable. They're in disrepair. It's clear, once again, I ask that anybody has any questions about this, drive down William Drive. And I'm asking, yes.
And I can respond to that,
Yes.
because that was a question that I had for that same individual. I said, most of those vehicles look as though they don't even run, so why would you spend the money to plate those vehicles? And I think it has become a matter of principle to him, and he's willing to spend that money to plate those vehicles. I made a suggestion of extending or enlarging that wooded privacy fence to include all of those vehicles if that's what the township's going to allow them to do. And I didn't get a lot of response back from that.
Is that compliant to have, within the township, to be compliant, aren't vehicles that are unlicensed or unregistered to be in an enclosed area? And how do we know that those are current registrations? I assume because you're a law enforcement officer that you've already checked with the Secretary of State and these plates.
I looked at those, they are valid Michigan registrations, and they are valid plates. There are 3 trailer plates that are permanent trailer plates. I can't speak for Bill Denon, but from conversations that I've had with him, the township ordinance states that the vehicles that are on your property must be plated with a valid plate. And from what I've been able to tell, he has went and plated those vehicles with a valid plate, even though most of them don't even appear to run. Like I said, it's a matter of principle, I believe, to that homeowner over the issue, and I don't know how the township or Bill Denon is going to get around that.
So are these plates, and I won't have this opportunity again to probably do this, are these plates actually been checked through the Secretary of State currently, that you physically, I know you have the ability to do that these 18 plates have actually been researched, that they're legitimately on file with the Secretary of State?
No, because from a law enforcement perspective, it would be a lien violation for me to look over that fence, and actually, I'd be trespassing to go over there, matter for one, and to run those for something that is not a law enforcement issue, I can't even run those plates. So the only thing, that's why I said, I don't know if those registrations match those vehicles behind that privacy fence, because I can't go back there to look. But I'm telling you, he had 18 valid Michigan registrations, 3 of them were license plates. And I know that he has at least that many vehicles on that property.
So it would be
Okay, Sharon, I would like to invite you after the meeting to speak to Lieutenant Glover to get the rest of your questions answered. And
I'm done.
You're all set? Okay. Clerk?
Oh, yes, I forgot to announce that Teens and Seniors Rocking and Raking is Saturday, April 27th, and you can get the form on our website, or at our senior center, the library, the village offices, and here in my building. And Mr. Kyer, to your comment about the kitchen, when's it going to get done? We are working very hard to getting that done and have been promised it will be done by April or May. There's 2% left to do, and it's a struggle. This contractor has definitely not held up his end of the bargain. So I apologize for it.
Okay, I would like to respond, as far as the garbage hauler, I know, Lake Orion's looking into doing something, and so I asked to be like in the loop on that. So if I find things out, I'll be bringing it to the board. As far as going for a single garbage hauler, that's not a decision I can make on my own. It would have to be made by the whole board, and we would have to have the residents on board with us. And we tried to put this out there before, and you wouldn't believe how many people had special relationships with their garbage haulers.
Yes. Personal relationship.
Yeah.
And didn't want to give them up.
People like choice.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
People
Well,
like choice.
we discussed it about a year ago, as I recall.
The
Yeah,
choices
well,
are narrowing here,
for
though.
that, yeah.
The choices are narrowing.
Yeah, so
and
some of those garbage haulers aren't being committed to
And
to
they
the
do
residents.
I mean, you see them out on the road. You see more than one company out every day, and it becomes a lot on our roads.
Yeah, it
Especially those
is.
dirt roads.
Yep. And back to the complaint on Williams Drive, I just wanted to say to the board, if, right now our ordinance allows for any number of vehicles as long as it's plated and it looks operable. There was one vehicle with flat tires on this property, and the resident got the tires all inflated, and so it looked operable. So I think as a board, I don't know if we want to pursue having a limit on how many vehicles. That probably won't go over well with freedom of choice. Or if we want to state you can't have them visible somehow, I don't know. Is there some type of ordinance that you'd like us to look into, is the question, to help
I mean, I'd
help with
like
the
to see
situation.
the current vehicle ordinance and see what that says before I want to adjust
Okay.
anything.
All right, so what I'll do, I'll have that sent to you.
Okay.
So you guys can look at our current ordinance. Okay. All right, and that's all I have tonight.
You gotta keep going.
I'm fine.
I didn't have anything tonight. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Nope, and nothing else tonight, thank you.
Okay. So with that, that brings us to adjournment. Who would like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Good night.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Meeting's adjourned.
All right, there's ours.
Who's second?
The guy has
It wasn't that bad for me.
Darnell.